Hey guys! Welcome back to another episode of the Genshin Impact Chronicle. I am so excited for today's episode. Not only are we going to be talking about Amber, everyone's favorite outrider of the Knights of Favonius, but I have brought on two very special guests to help me talk all about Amber. When I was first putting this episode together, I immediately knew who I wanted to bring onto the podcast as guests. So please welcome Yoon and Rin Taichou. Thank you both again for coming onto the podcast to talk about Amber. I'm so excited.
Hi.
Before we get started, do both of you just want to briefly introduce yourself and then we will jump into the content?
Sure. June, you go first.
Let's have the Amber main go first.
You are the Amber main.
Hi, folks. I'm June. I'm a voice actor in LA, and I am in Genshin Impact as a number of NPCs, most notably Kujo Sara's dad, Kujo Takayuki. And she's wrong, of course. We should have kept the Sakoku decree and closed off Inazuma. Now look at what's happened. All these travelers coming to ruin everything.
It's my turn?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Your turn.
Oh. I'm Rin Taichou. I'm a content creator, most recently known for playing Amber. I am transgender, so I do use she, her pronouns. I'm more of a ride and A enthusiast lately these days, though, for reasons. I'm not in Genshin Impact, but I have represented Hoyoverse through doing hosting and shoutcasting through their Genius Invocation TCG tournaments and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great to have you both. Let's jump right into it. So you both are Amber mains, of course. So I'm assuming that you know everything there is to know about Amber.
I would like to think I do.
As best I can. Yeah.
Well, we're going to test your knowledge here. I have a little pop quiz for you. It's only 5 questions, and feel free to compete against each other or work together. I don't care which one. So we'll see how much you know about Amber. So question 1, hopefully starting off easy here. What is Amber's specialty dish?
You want to answer that one, June? I know.
I don't know this one, Rin, because
Really?
I'm not as an Amber main as you are.
What? It's just the Outrider steak, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Something about a steak. I don't know the exact name. I just know it's a steak.
You're very close. It is Outrider's
Yeah.
champion steak.
Ah, yes.
Very underdone, I might add.
Yes. Like me. That's how I make my steak. I'm not a good cook,
Awesome.
honestly.
All right.
Medium rare, nothing else.
All right. Question number 2. What is Amber's least favorite food?
She has a least favorite food?
She does.
She does. Yes.
Wow.
It's like a navy bluish color, and it's a berry.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't like wolf hooks?
Yep.
Yeah. Specifically cold wolf hook juice.
They're delicious. I don't know what she's talking about.
And apparently has to be cold for her to not like it.
Terrible.
Good job, Rin. You are acing this.
Got this.
All right. So question number 3. A big part of Amber's life was her grandfather. What was her grandfather's name? And I'll give you a list. So you've got A, Charles, B, Robert, C, Albert, or D, none of these.
I would say none of these. I don't think his name has ever been mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know of
And
any.
I know he's from Liyue because those don't sound like Liyue names to me at all.
Yes, I couldn't trick you. Yeah, none of these. He is never named in the games. So, yes, good job.
I was worried. I was worried for a second. I was like, whoa.
Right. All right, question 4. How many times has Amber won the gliding championship of Mondstadt?
Ooh. This one I'm unsure, actually. June,
Just
do you know?
once, I think.
I think there's
Where
only
did I
been
hear
one.
that from? Just once. But there's only been one event, as far
Yeah.
as I know.
She is a 3-time gliding
Oh, yeah.
championship.
Actually, I do remember a line that says 3-time champion, something, something. Yes, I
Yep.
do. Coming back.
Yes.
Shows how much I don't know. It's perfect.
Awesome. And last question is a true or false. Amber's C2 gives her an extra charge for Baron Bunny.
True.
True.
Oh, wait, no.
Yes.
False.
Yes.
Not the extra charge.
Oh, it's
extra charge C4.
Good job.
C2.
Yes.
No, wait.
It's the
C2
second
is
arrow.
explosion.
Yep, you are
You're
right.
right.
It is C4.
See, we're looking at a
Tricky.
true Amber main.
Yeah.
I know all.
Well, good job. Rin, you aced that. That was awesome. I thought I had picked out some very obscure questions, but you got them all. That was awesome.
I'm sweating a little bit, but all right.
All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the meat of Amber. So she's the first one that we meet in the game. Right away, we can tell she's got an amazing personality. She's spunky, she's bright, she's cheerful, she's positive, she's a glass half full kind of girl. So I'm curious, what made you two want to become an Amber main? Was it her personality, her character play style? What was it?
June, I will allow you to go first while I think of my answer here.
I will gladly go first. For me, it's multifaceted, I guess. But the biggest motivation for maining Amber and championing Amber as I do in the public spaces or whatever, is because I think she's cool. I think she's cool, and from this very self-analytical and self-observed like perspective of this dad that I am. I've said this before on stream and with other folks as well. Like, I kinda secretly wanted a little bit here and there. I love my boys. I do. They're both they're age 7 and 11, my boys. And I love my sons with all my heart, but gosh dang it, I can't. I have to confess that I briefly, for a moment, I thought about those days in the backyard or in their room, like playing tea time and little dresses and all the things and stuff like that. So, from a selfish point of view, it's really the desire to have like a daughter, even if it's a 2D fictitious daughter I can dote on, if you will.
Aw, that's kind of sweet, actually.
That's
It's wholesome
awesome.
in nature,
Yeah.
and it sounds great to everybody. But that's my genuine, authentic like desire and a need to have Amber in my team like that.
Awesome. I love that.
All right, I'm petitioning for June to voice Amber's grandfather.
Yes, that would be awesome.
He has to show up one day. I know
I
he
love
will.
that. I would love to have some sort of story quest with Amber, kind of digging into her grandfather, because there's so much mystery kind of surrounding him, which we'll talk about in a bit, but I think that would be so cool.
Completely agreed. Yeah.
I guess for me, when Amber showed up, it was everything you listed about like her personality, just being spunky, energetic, nice, half glass full, kind of whatever, right? But when I first started, I did like her when I started, but my first main was actually Kuching for a while.
Oh, yeah.
But when I was playing, I like to have an archer on my team, and I was like, Amber is pretty good, so I'll just keep using her along with Kuching. So they kind of were both my mains at the same time. It was until I saw tier lists after tier lists and messages of people just dunking on Amber all the time, and I'm the type of person to root for the underdog for sure, and I like challenges, and I like playing characters that are very anti-meta or very against what the popular opinion is. So a lot of it, I would say,
Yeah.
is a play out of spite. But as I've gotten to like learn and play Amber, I'm just like, this is way more fun. It's challenging. I've always been good at like shooting type games, and just Amber's character, her design too, was also a big fave for me.
Right.
So it was just like a nice package for me to just like, wow, yeah, this can be my main character. So I'm just gonna invest.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. And shout out to the English voice actress, Kelly Baskin. I play in English. She does an incredible job. I love her voice acting, the way that she brings Amber to life. So that's just an extra layer for me, just getting to hear how she does that. So that's incredible. I love that.
On top of that, she's just a good human being.
Yeah,
Yes.
We
Kelly
love
has been very nice,
Kelly around
very
here.
Yes.
very cozy.
Totally.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Rin, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but a big part of Amber's history is her grandfather, who actually is from Liyue, which was something that I hadn't really known about. But it kind of makes sense with Amber's like dark hair and dark eyes and stuff like that. But do either of you know how her grandfather came to Mondstadt? Do you know that story?
I believe the story was that he was a hired mercenary and he was guarding someone on the way, but it was ambushed, and he was like one of the only survivors of it, if not the sole survivor of it.
Yes, he was. He was the sole survivor.
Right. Then, ashamed, he basically left Liyue to go live in Mondstadt and started working for the Knights of Favonius.
Yeah. Well, and I found it interesting. It was actually a doctor from Mondstadt that saved his life. And this doctor happened to be with the Knights of Favonius. And so Amber's grandfather kind of went back to Mondstadt as a way of, basically paying off that debt, that appreciation for that doctor of saving his life. So that's kind of how he came to Mondstadt, which I thought was pretty cool. That's an amazing story. And he eventually settled down and had a family, and Amber was eventually born into that family. But yeah, he was the one who actually started the Outrider program, which is pretty neat. And I thought it was so cute. Amber would secretly watch him training the other Outriders. She would just like peek out the window and watch him train them. And at night, she would secretly go out and practice those same moves that her grandfather was teaching her. It's like, that's so cute. What a cute relationship that they have. And that's how he ended up teaching her to be an outrider as well. He saw her enthusiasm and was like, okay, let me just go ahead and teach her for real. So that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But I don't know if you two remember, Amber she actually overheard a very important conversation one day. She was hiding in a cabinet to surprise her grandfather, and she overheard a conversation. Do you remember what this conversation is?
Something to do with Diluc,
Yes.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the conversation after Diluc's father had just passed away. And they wanted to basically just kind of cover up the situation. And Diluc was just not having it and was mad. And he resigned from the Knights of Favonius. And we'll talk about that in a future episode. But she overheard that conversation. And I can't imagine being, she was pretty young at the time, just overhearing that. And like, what does this mean? And that was a pretty important thing that happened in Diluc's life, and she was a part of it. So I thought that was pretty neat as well.
Right.
I unfortunately don't know a lot of the lore based around any of the characters. In fact, come to think of it, giving me a real like self-actualization awareness thing right now. My God, I should read up more on these lore pieces.
Right. Well, and interestingly, I've done a lot of research on this, of course, for the podcast, but the person that Diluc was talking to, his name was Erock, I think. He was actually not a good person, and he was eventually outed of the Knights of Favonius, and he was just like kicked out because of the stuff that he was doing. So that's an interesting little tidbit for you there. Now, what I also love about Amber is she is not a person who will judge you. She's very non-judgmental, and we see that in her interactions with Kale in the manga. If you both have read the manga, Kale at that time, she was just, very sickly. She had bandages all over her. She honestly kind of looked like a mess. But Amber didn't care about that. She just saw someone who needed help and offered her help and assistance. And I love that. And a beautiful friendship kind of blossomed from that. And the same with Eula as well. She faced such criticism for her family and her family name. And that didn't bother Amber. She became friends with her anyway and colleagues and worked with her. And eventually, I think she was a big part of why Mondstadt accepted Eula for who she is, instead of just seeing her as her family name.
If I recall, Amber's grandfather also trained Eula.
Yes, he did.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that might have influenced Amber to also treat people without, prejudice. So
exactly.
when Kale came in, she just wanted to kind of pass that along as well.
Right. Yeah, no, Eula was trained by Amber's grandfather, which I thought was really cool. So that's a nice little bit of backstory for Eula there. But one thing that I wanted to talk about, because I find this very mysterious about Amber's grandfather, he just kind of up and left. I think it was like 4 years before the start of the events of the game. He just left. He didn't say a word. He didn't leave any notes. Just gone. And I can't imagine being someone Amber's age, having been raised by her grandfather. Presumably, I haven't seen anything about parents for Amber. And just having him just leave like that. So I'm curious if either of you know of the theories that are out there as to what happened to him.
I know that in Shingsa Village, there's some notes you can find on the bulletin board that hint at someone gliding around and kind of just like skulking around the area.
Right.
People seem to recognize him too. And it just it being Chingsa place of all places, right, to go back to, just kind of add some more hints to like who this person might be.
Right.
There was a couple other hints, but I can't remember them off the top of my head right now.
Well, there was another one. I'm not as convinced with this one. Granny Rushin. I'm probably pronouncing her name totally wrong, but we're just going to go with it. She had a sweetheart back in the day, and he left on an expedition and never returned. So on the surface, that kind of seems like maybe that could be Amber's grandfather. The part I'm not totally convinced on is I think it was mentioned that this was some sort of sea expedition. And I don't know that he went to sea. Last we know, when he left for Mondstadt, he was just on a routine job route, which to me means he was still in Liyue. So I'm not as convinced on that one, but that could potentially be one as well. I don't know.
I don't remember the sea one at all. All I know is that he left.
Yeah, it's like, why did he leave?
He left, and he is in Chingsa somewhere. Like, he's hanging out there right now, but obviously he's just not in game for us to find.
Yeah, which is another reason why I would love some sort of story quest with Amber. I think that would be so cool to kind of just explore that part of her and just kind of see more about her grandfather. That would be so cool.
With how the recent starter characters have had some bits of lore connected to them, with Lisa and Sumeru and Kaya, with I guess the most recent stuff too with Caribe and even the recent event right now, it leads me to think that maybe Lantern Rite 2024 might center around Amber, although that's just me like really hoping for something.
That would be so cool. I would love that.
Mm.
Nice.
Please.
I know.
I think there's some validity and value to that. I mean, it's been some time since we focused on any events or characters from Mondstadt, to be
Mhm.
Right.
specific. And I
Right.
think it is due time to go back for something, even though we go back for Windbloom every year,
Hmm.
so
Right.
far anyway. I would love for something, some event, some story, some kind of a thing where we get to go back for a little bit, you know?
Right. Yeah, we've been mostly focused on like Sumeru, and now, of course, with Fontaine coming up, there's going to be a whole bunch of content for that. So, yeah, I feel like we are overdue for a Mondstadt event.
Well, we had the we had a couple of things already with Kali coming to visit.
We
That
did.
one was Sucrose,
Hmm.
and then that was all linked to the Hexen Circle. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, something Lantern Raid. Like, what could it be about this year? And
Right.
it's just like Amber hasn't been explored yet at all.
Yeah.
Like, there's gotta be something, and we know his or her grandfather is out there somewhere,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah.
mystery still has to be solved. And he seems to be linked to a lot of things too.
Right. Yeah. Does Amber even have a hangout quest? I forget.
Nope.
No. We need a hangout quest for Amber.
To be fair, Lisa doesn't have one, but Kaya did just get one.
Yeah,
So,
Kaya has one. Yep. And I also love the little details that Hoyoverse puts on their characters. There was a journal entry, I think, that Amber made, and she had like caught some rare bird, I think it was. And Jean let her keep like a feather from this bird. Is that the same feather that she has hanging off her vision?
is that what that is?
It looks like a feather to me.
No idea.
And I was wondering if that was the same one that she plucked off of that rare bird that she caught.
I have no idea. Everyone has like a very interesting outfit and details and designs to
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
fits with like their visions and things.
Right.
The interesting thing is Amber's vision also, or Amber and Kali have very similar visions too that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe Kali has some similar design. I can bring her
Does
out here.
Kale's vision have Amber's feather on it?
Yes,
Ooh,
something
does
like that.
it?
I'm just gonna
I'm looking
look-
right now.
bringing her out right now. Yeah, if you take a look
Yeah.
here,
She
it's very similar. Yeah.
does.
Right.
I
They're very
love
similar.
that. Yeah, and they're similar color as well.
Yep.
I love that. I love that they're such good friends. They're just the sweetest thing. I love it. All right, guys. Well, I think we are at the end of the episode. Thank you both so much again for coming on the podcast today. It was such a pleasure having you. So thank you so much. And I will link your socials in the description. So if you just want to kind of briefly mention what your socials are, where you guys stream.
June, you first.
Across all socials, you can find me at June Yoon with an underscore. On Twitch, it's 2 underscores because already somebody exists with a June Yoon.
That's
How
crazy.
dare they.
What the heck?
I know.
You can also find me Rin Taichou on literally everything as well. My main places being Twitch and YouTube. I do have a Twitch team that are just for Amber mains though, and anyone can join provided you are an Amber
Ooh.
main.
Nice. That's
Just-
dedication.
If you just want to have a nice The Outriders tag under your Twitch stream, you can totally join. So just ask. Actually, that's kind of how I met June. I was just looking for Amber mains
Really?
on Twitch one day, and I was like, let's go raid one. And I saw June, I was like, okay, let's go there. And now we're friends.
That's awesome.
Making friends on Twitch.
Amber just makes friends for everybody, both in
What
game
happened?
and real life. So can't complain there.
Indeed.
All right.
Check
Well,
this out.
thanks so much, guys. It was great having you.
All right,
So-
thanks for having us.
Yes, of course. It was so fun talking about Amber. Amber, best girl, best outrider there is, even if she is the only outrider.
It's the only
But yeah.
Outriders is the best one.
Yes.
Only
But
needs to be
no.
one, just one.
This was super fun. It was so great talking to you both. Such an honor as well. That concludes our episode on Amber. That is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. Huge thank you to June and Rin for coming on to the podcast today. We had so much fun talking about Amber and digging a little bit into her past and her history. We'll see you in the next episode. Ad Astra Abyssosque, travelers!